yes, of course.
Yeah, we need more ladies in tech. You know?
Yeah,
Look at California, most of the new CEOs are all ladies now. Girls, you know. Yahoo, what's the other one?
Hey,
Google, Facebook.
I don't think the doors are closed, are they? Like, everyone is welcome, at least in my book. So anyway, thanks for coming out. Very excited about today's talk, and especially since you have a unique opportunity here in getting all of this information and those high-class talks in a very small and private setting, which sometimes you would sit in a room, maybe in the same size room as we were just talking about, with 300 people to get the same kind of keynotes. So it should be really.
We hope we get there.
Yeah, well, sure.
Not in this room though.
But
yes.
still going out and
But
fishing.
for now, we're appreciating that we have an intimate setting.
Yeah.
So, as usual, little agenda. You already did some networking. I'm just going to go over a couple of details, what happened, changed since last time, and what are we planning to do. Wayne just actually, for those who were here before, Wayne is the co-organizer of the Southwest Florida Tech Meetup. He just had flat and almost wrecked his car, so he cannot be here, but he's fine.
Oh, he's fine?
Yeah.
He's okay?
So
all right.
we're with him in memory.
Yes. Hopefully not in.
In memorial.
Yes.
No, he said he's fine. He could Skype me, so he's
Yeah.
fine.
His fingers are still working.
He should buy a Tesla, drive by his own.
Yeah, right? Or a truck. Drive up in a semi. That would be cool. Then we're going to have two startup pitches. I'm super excited to have two guys here today who would finally take the opportunity to take those 5 minutes and just get the word out and practice their pitches. As usual, I encourage everyone who is working on anything to do that. Just reach out. You get 5 minutes plus 5 minutes Q&A, and there's no better venue to do that, and you get real feedback from real people. Then 30 seconds or 15 seconds to everyone who just wants to say something, who they are. Maybe you have a need. You need a UX developer or something, or what you can help with. Always shout out to the people what you can help them with. So in that respect, from my side, I'm a software engineer by trade right now. Studied electrical engineering, got into the Meetup and startup and tech scene a couple of years ago. So if you need any help with that, or if you just need a connection to anyone else in the group, just email me. I'm super happy to help with whatever I can. Then a big shout out to Matt. Super happy that he is here today. Super excited. Very quality talk. And again, people like him usually have a speaking budget I personally can't afford. So thank you for being here.
Sure.
No, I mean it's true. It's true. This is peer to peer. This is I paid $80 for the meetup, and I'm just doing this because I've seen what groups like this can do once they grow to a certain size. And I think we all have to understand that we have to help each other. Don't reinvent the wheel all the time. We have great people in every kind of domain in this group, so let's just help each other out until we are at that point where we have a couple of people break out and grow this area, grow this community. So that's very, very important. Quick raise of hands, who would consider themselves a techie? Creatives, service providers, entrepreneurs? Everyone, hopefully, no? Almost. And investors? Those are the important people. Remember their faces. You at one point in your career, you have to talk to them. Maybe not, but very likely. If you make it without them, even better. We grew to 178 people in a matter of 6 months. Seven?
That's good.
Very exciting, so thanks for joining. And if you could do me a huge favor, go home tonight and refer one of your friends. My personal mission is to beat the Rocket Launch members. They have a couple more members in their meetup group, so we have to beat.
I think that's a lot of work.
They have also a bigger marketing budget than we do.
We catch them all.
No, the Rocket Launch is very important. Of course, they are sponsor here for the space, otherwise we wouldn't be here. One thing we are planning, and basically this is just me putting the feelers out. If anyone has any interest on doing a special meetup at some point during our regular ones, like in between, of doing user testing sessions. I personally am at that point right now where I need a lot of user feedback. I'm working with tools online and with friends and family and getting that feedback already, going out to coffee shops and whatnot. But I think we have a venue here where we can get together a couple of people and just, you use your product, bring your product out, bring your app, bring your website, whatever it is, and put it in front of people. They will tell you what's wrong with it, or what might need improvement, or what's great with it. So if you have any need for that, come talk to me later. I'm trying to organize something like that, but I don't want to be the selfish prick who's just doing it for himself. I want to extend that to you guys as well, because I think that's tremendous value.
We have a coffee shop too now, Rebel.
Yeah. Yeah, actually.
Doesn't fit in this building, so we have to take a separate building.
I was actually
connected to the rocket.
I'm planning on going there already. So there's multiple ways you can do this, but one very easy way is you just go to the coffee shop and you bring your product. Obviously, you talk to the owner of the coffee shop if that's okay, and you just talk to people and you offer them a free coffee or a free donut or something, 4 or 5 minutes of their time. You go over your stuff. You do that with 5 people. You have 90% of what's wrong with your product. You go home, fix that, you do it again. That's the core of the idea, right? So, our 2 startup pitches today. We have Andrew over here and Bill over here. And just in order, I put it up here. If you would want to start.
Let's give it a shot.
All right. I'm not even going to introduce much because that's his job. This one. Sorry about that.
Interesting. 3 computers and no Mac.
Here's one.
Wife has one.
It's a Mac.
Oh.
That's a good one.
Oh, and if you would do me a favor, since pitching is hard, like, you should try to be on a timeline, and in order not to be rude about it, after 5 minutes, if I start clapping, if you could join in, that's the mark where Andrew has to wrap up.
No pressure.
Until then, we need to know how much.
Turn the lights off. Lawless, precise activities.
This is the reason I started my company, M-Drive. I do have a partner, but this is the reason we started. This was my wife's car. She was in a near fatal accident back in 2011. She was rear-ended by a commercial vehicle, did not stop, didn't even put his brakes on, and ran her over at 55 miles an hour at a stoplight. So M-Drive is the name of the company. It's a metrics-driven fleet efficiency software. We're targeting the $120 billion fleet industry. So 80% of crashes are a result of distracted driving, 26% are cell phone use, reported by police departments. 32% fatalities are a result of speeding, okay? For commercial vehicles, 1 in 5 vehicles in a fleet will be involved in a collision each year, 20% of the fleet. We work with a lot of insurance companies. One is AJ Gallagher. They have a division called Pesher. And this is their statistics. The statistics don't change year over year. 39% of all vehicles in fleets rear end other vehicles. You can see all the other stats, but that's what we're trying to avoid. So, 2014, Geico had $1.5 billion in profits. Right? 2015, $493 million. Warren Buffett, they're raising rates due to the increase in occurrences and severity of crashes out in the roads. So M-Drive is a software that allows us to identify those high-risk drivers, about 85% accuracy through our algorithms. So the algorithms are predictive and proprietary algorithm is just the tip of the iceberg. So what we're trying to do now is expand that algorithm to include more sets of data from GPS and from vehicle. Also, we've partnered with about 8 different software companies that will be bringing that data in and match it all up, and it's machine learning. And then we're also building a driver scoring mechanism that will actually determine what type of training that driver needs to minimize his risk on the road. So the whole industry worldwide is 120 billion by 2018. US alone is 20, 30 billion, right? It's been growing. I've been in this industry since I sold my company years ago, but in the United States alone, there's 600 GPS providers representing 6 million connected vehicles. That's our targeted market. The largest, obviously, is Verizon, which and Fleetmatics, Navman, Teletrack, TomTom, Mixed Telematics. There's a bunch of them. Geotab and Position Logic as well. They represent probably, they're experiencing a 20-25% growth year over year. Okay? We've already partnered with Geotab, and you can see they opened up a sandbox for us, and we're actually playing with their data right now. And a lot of their resellers, and I'll get into them in a second, a lot of their resellers have already made commitments to us that they want to go out and resell this one that's available. Okay? We project that we're going to be at 36 million by the end of 2021. So myself, I'm a former business owner. I've started and sold, acquired, merged multiple companies. I work for a major corporation right now. We're VC backed. I'm trying to go out on my own. I'm also a certified defensive driving instructor. My partner, Eric Farr, is actually my CTO. He's got 25 years software industry. He has numerous certificates for software. He has co-developed and patented 3 software inventions. He's a very bright guy. He's also very good with iOS and Android online and offline applications, which is part of our whole software. We're looking for $500,000 investment. It's for 2 purposes. One is to expand our leadership team and to continue our dialogue and conversations with current GPS and telematics companies, not just locally or in the United States or North America, but globally. On the software side, we're looking to expand our development team. Between Eric and myself, we're a little exhausted these days, so we're trying to expand the development team, add a couple UI and UX guys, and analytical guys. Our exit strategy, we know that right now that it's very heavy mergers and acquisitions in the GPS telematics industry. Verizon just purchased Telligis for $900 million this past year, and also Fleetmatics for $2.4 billion, right? It's a huge industry right now. Multiples of 7 minimum. The other thing is the insurance industry. It's progressive. You've seen a little snapshot, whatever it is. And Liberty Mutual has their own type of algorithms as well. There's other insurance companies that are trying to catch up. So we have a feeling through AJ Gallagher, who we're already in discussions with, and Houston International Insurance Group, that we will be, it's either going to be an insurance company or a telematics company that is going to kind of pursue us. Also, if we don't want to exit immediately, we can go globally. Right now we have commitments from Truly Known, which we're all familiar with. We have commitments from Aero Exterminators, which is a major corporation up in Atlanta, Georgia. A little small company up in Chicago, where I'm from. Rose Pest Control, they're the oldest pest control company in the United States. Right? We also have partnerships with Arthur J. Gallagher, their division called PestSure, Houston International Insurance Group, Consolidated National Insurers. We also have partnerships with National Safety Council, and EOS Safe Driver, who wants to go out there and push our products. My name is Andrew DeLaChapelle. I'm the CEO and president of mDrive. Eric Farr is my CTO. My contact information is there.
Thank you.
No questions.
Catch some slack comes out of the Q&A.
Questions? Yes.
What's the valuation? What's your current valuation?
Right now, for the angel investors, we're looking for our valuation is about $2.5 million.
So your algorithm, why is that different than any other algorithms you feel?
So in the
market?
GPS world, there's 600 players out there.
Mm-hmm.
3/4, if not maybe 7/8 of them, do not have any type of driver behavior monitoring, let alone scoring mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
The few that do, like Fleetmatics, their scoring mechanism is not. It scores the driver and it can change tomorrow. It can change a week from now. It's not pinpointing what the driver's doing wrong behind the wheel. So our algorithm actually looks and says, you know what, he's distracted, he is on his cell phone, he's following too closely.
How do you get the data?
We pull it from GPS devices that are installed in vehicles. Like I said, there's 600.
But the
there's 60
GPS, we're
million-
not gonna give you that kind of
Well, it's
data,
just
that's
this
how
little-
they
Little
behave.
interface which you have, which is the standard now.
So all devices today have an accelerometer built into them.
Yep.
They record hard, harsh, and severe driving behaviors based off of G-force.
Yeah.
The G-force, based on the severity of the G-force, is how we determine that information. So as a certified defensive driving trainer, I know when I see a lot of harsh and severe braking, that guy is not keeping a safe bubble behind him. Okay? He's following too closely, he's speeding up. Had one the other day where the driver would pass people, which we had lane detection. He'd pass it and then speed up, flooring it, and then have to slow down because the car's in front of him. So
I mean, that doesn't have lane detection, and some of them may have, but most
Yeah.
of them don't. They
Right.
have the speed as well as the braking.
actually, you can actually with the accelerometer, you can actually
The side
detect
movement.
movement side to side, lane to lane.
So that's how you get the data. So if
Yeah.
those drivers who actually say, okay, let's put that in because I may save 5% or 7% or 10%, you can collect the data out of those. So that's where you plug the data into your algorithm.
Right, yeah, so our focus is not on the consumer side, it's more on the commercial fleet side, where their
Okay.
rates are doing this, it's just skyrocketing.
So for the commercials, it's a must.
GPS is only at about 20% saturation rate right now in North America, so there's huge growth in the industry. That's why you're seeing all the mergers and acquisitions. I've been involved in 2 acquisitions in GPS with my company right now, and we're looking at a 3rd one right now that we should close before the end of the year. It's a hot market right now. And my focus is, you know, I don't want to compete against 600 GPS companies any longer. I've already done that. I've been there, done there. I want to take this and expand it into all the GPS companies and offer it out to them and have a revenue sharing program. Yes.
So talk to me about how that, like, how does it work? How's the finance side of work? If I'm truly owned, what do I pay you?
You pay us $750 a month. Well, if you're, let me take that back. You're going to pay the GPS provider $7.50 a month. From there, there's a revenue share program.
Okay, so truly owned's already got,
They have 1,268 vehicles equipped with GPS right now.
okay, and so they're already hooked up to the GPS system, right? So I'm paying you $7.50 per car per month.
1 tire a year. You'll save that from brakes,
Oh, sure.
rotors, tires, wear and tear, friction on the tires
And how
Fuel
quickly does it start sending back data?
immediately.
And so then how do I judge if I'm the CEO of truly owned or I'm, a manager? How do I start judging that? How do I start judging that Bob over here is driving too fast?
Well, there's actually alerts. So
Sure.
in this instance, you would click on mDrive. That would take you into our back end. And from there, you'd have a list of your drivers. You can type and search in a driver. But you're going to see your top 5 worst drivers. And then you'll see your subset from there. You'll also see if there's any NVR reports that are saying, you know what, Matt, you just got pulled over last week for a DUI. This guy is driving a company vehicle, out you go.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so that's part of it as well, is government.
So you're collecting that data as well, because that's not coming from that device, that's
No.
coming from
We
public
have outside
records.
sources,
Okay.
absolutely. We have 8 partners that we're actually pulling the information in.
So the algorithm uses whatever comes out of that matrix as well as all the public records.
Right, yeah. And the machine learning right now is pulling information that we didn't even realize.
So how do you compete with position logic?
Position Logic, which is at Naples, Florida, Felix is, I know Felix very well. So Position Logic is actually a platform. They write the software, they sell it, or they lease it out per vehicle to resellers. That's where their money is. Recently acquired by Core.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
actually acquired
there was
by
another
Rayco
one, and then Core, yes.
it's a hot market right now.
Yeah.
So, Position Logic, Felix, I've already discussed with him. I have to go back to him with our revenue sharing plan. And
So
I'm
he's
sure-
interested in actually?
Yeah,
Okay, great.
absolutely.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
He's an awesome guy. He
All
really
right,
is.
thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Just a little mean question on the side. Are you not afraid of self-driving trucks? And
It's
fleet
not gonna
vehicles?
impact the industry. I mean, look at Tesla, or Tesla. you know, people think, oh, it's just gonna drive itself.
It's gonna come
There's
tomorrow,
a major
right?
accident, oh, yes, exactly, I'm gonna have one of those.
So
cars.
you are then rating the self-driving vehicles.
You know, but there's still 24 million commercial vehicles on the road.
Oh yeah. I mean,
So you know what?
it's still quite a time.
You're still 20
until-
years out.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still alive at that point,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
then I've done something.
Then we are happy about just
I must
that.
have stopped drinking today.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Mm,
Thank you.
thank you.
Right, Bill, you are up once you're ready. Stage is all yours.
I think
It's
you are
about
good.
5 minutes started.
We can see.
Not yet.
How about now? How about now?
I need a beer.
Let's go to, check another display.
Oh, your screen is already up, so it should be okay.
I know, man, my little presentation gives me. So we're just gonna go. I'll wing my verbiage.
Just yeah, that's it.
Alright. Start? Ready. Bill Rosser. Thanks for leading. So basically, I'll give you a little background and then I'll just roll through these slides real quick and then whatever questions you may have. So back in early 2000s, project managed, program managed a product and I had a partner, it's my partner now, is Jared Smith that wrote the code. And we did a background check for employment purposes system. Within 3 years, we had several Fortune 500 companies, Kellogg's, Comerica Bank, Marathon Oil. I had a project I was doing with the Department of Justice where we did all the Federal Bureau of Prisons background checks. And it was basically just because of the nature of the market at the time, any kind of pre-employment or background investigation. So we're going to roll through this. So basically, right now, we're talking about more of the investigation side of the private investigation. So we expect the market to grow to a little over $5 billion by 2020. It's about a 14% increase, and that's what we're chasing. So the customers that we're going to be getting are going to be current providers to the federal government for background investigations, like Office of Personnel Management, and then also companies that want to get into that space but can't because they don't have the technology. So this system's going to allow them to be able to go compete for those markets. So it's basically software as a service. Through the past experiences that we have relationships with a little over, and actually have indexed right now with all their qualifications, about 650 or so ex-FBI agents. They're all retired, they're all vetted. Also have another list of about 700 agents that were doing clearance work for the DIA and the NSA, which is another project I did. So those are going to be our resources for the information. And basically, case management is kind of like project or program management, right? So if you don't have a good, you got to lay out the plan and verify that everything was done. So same scenario here, right? If you don't have good case management, you're going to have a good report on the investigation at the end of the case. So this is going to manage the entire case from the client coming in, requesting, producing a report on investigation, pulling all the resources together. The resources are going to be, obviously, there's a lot of database-driven stuff out there now, motor vehicle records, criminal records, etc. And then, of course, the feet on the ground, physical investigation, assets that are going to be out there that are going to be feeding the system. Right now, just based off our current list and relationships that we have, we'll usually be able to cover the U.S. One of our board directors is an FBI, ex-FBI special agent who has existing business internationally. Has 4 companies that run international business. He's got North African presence and Middle East presence, and I can get somebody anywhere in the world in about 48 hours if you need a picture of somebody in Minsk. Right. I also have Andy, who's an attorney, He's DC based, obviously has a lot of political connections, he's been up there for quite a while. Also used to work for D.L. Piper. And then there's myself, who founded the original Preceptor. Again, it was more, not physical investigations, but pre-employment and background checks. Of course, Jerry writes the code, he's in the UK. Just to kind of give you an idea of what we did before, we had obviously several Fortune 500 companies and government agencies within 3 years on a platform in an industry that was very well established but wasn't very well serviced. Private investigation industry is exactly that right now. It's very well established but not very well serviced. There's some 4,000 odd firms in the U.S. and most of them have 9 employees or less. It's a very fragmented industry. The only competitor I was able to find is something called Trustify.info. They started last year in 2015 in the summer. And if you look at market research I've been able to do, which is actually kind of extensive because some guys went and wrote articles about them and really went through detail. But they're pretty much targeting, is your wife cheating on you, this kind of, I don't know, lower level is the right word, but I'll go ahead and use it, lower level investigative type work. The guys that we were working with are, top secret cleared and most of them. I'll have some of that lower level work available just for the revenue, but it's not the focus. Okay? I expect over the first 2 years to have pretty nominal growth in revenue as we build up and get the network developed and get into the market, and then within year 3 we'll have a pretty solid profit margin. I think these are pretty conservative numbers. This is about half of what I did with the first system in the first 3 years, so just didn't want to get too unconservative about it. So I'm looking for 450K. Based off my previous valuation, I have SEC filings because we sold it into a public shell. That was a 20x at the time. That was in 03 or 04, so it was after the tech bubble. So it wasn't a tech bubble valuation. So at 20x, you'll be 10x after 3 years in your value for your investment. Or if we want to be conservative about it, just go 10x. You'll be right around 5 times your investment after 3 years. And that, my friend, is less than 5 minutes. Questions?
So the previous Preceptor, how was that valued?
So the previous Preceptor was valued, obviously you had to do valuation from a third party, and it was valued at $10 million, and we only at the time had $500,000 in revenue.
Mind if I ask, how much of that was government contract versus a private sector?
The government contract was about 30% of the revenue.
Wow, okay. So you have 70% is basically it's private sector.
Yeah, like I said, I had Kellogg's, Comerica Bank, Marathon Oil.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a pretty solid.
And those were mostly background checks, so what was
That
the
was all pre-employment screening.
pre-employment?
Yeah.
Mhm.
The stuff for the government was a little deeper, obviously, for the federal. We did anybody who went to work for the Federal Bureau of Prisons, we cleared. I asked them if they had janitors, they said no, they have inmates.
So your main target is HR.
With that system, the main target was HR or loss prevention, depending, like Kellogg's was a loss prevention department to handle background checks. Again, the targets here, similar industry, but at the time, in early 2000, there was no cloud-based system for background checks. Right now, there's no cloud-based system for investigative work. Private industry is going to be using this a lot more because, even like, if you look like human trafficking is a big deal right now, right? And if they can contact the FBI, but they're a little busy, okay? So we can get maybe some federal grant funding here, and if the local law enforcement has somebody in South Africa or North Africa or wherever you want to say, that might be involved in something that's going on over here, they can immediately engage a resource through this system.
So through the platform which you want to develop, what would be the main purpose? Is it only settlement or the actual case management as well?
Well, it's gonna do it's gonna manage the case from soup to nuts. So it's called an ROI, or report on investigation, that's produced at the end of it. So it'll compile all the report. It'll pull all the data from all data sources as well as the human asset resources.
So basically all the investigators will be inputting data into the platform.
Correct.
And based on the contractual arrangement, that's how settlement's gonna be done?
Yeah, so
Settlement is automatic or it's manual?
Right, so Perceptor will collect the funds from the end user, okay? And then we'll hold those in an escrow until the case is satisfied, and once the case is satisfied, that'll be sent, which is another big difference from Trustify.info, because I mean, I was reading through their process, and to verify the case was complete, the investigator sent a screenshot of his phone with a text message that said, yeah, it's done, right? Just clearly not case managing it.
Okay.
And that guy was able to, you know, like I said, he was able to raise $1 million angel fund for that concept.
Okay, so what's the difference between the previous Perceptor and this Perceptor, what you wanna develop?
The main difference is that this is gonna be engaging the human asset, at the end of the chain, in addition to everything the previous Perceptor did. So, so for example, if you look at just motor vehicle records or any other kind of database search, they might do on average 2 a month, right? Because they're not heavy into that kind of thing. But if we wanna have 1,000 of them, so now I'm pulling 2,000 of these records a month, I can go get a rate, pass a little bit of savings on to them, and obviously create income for me.
So basically the difference is really the technological advancement, basically.
Yeah, so the technology is going to be more advanced, but and then again, the main resource here is being able to allow folks that wouldn't normally be able to get an investigator to get one.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Excellent, thanks much.
I'll be also quick. Thanks again. Again, really consider doing this if you have anything to say. And I'm pretty sure everyone works on something, otherwise you wouldn't be here. If you have anything to say right now, a quick shout out, raise your hand. Matt?
Sure. Matt Sieg, for those of you who haven't met yet, I'm with Edison Innovators Association. We're an educational nonprofit organization, and we're hosting our meetup here on Thursday. And what we do is help people who have an idea, regardless of their level of experience, and implementing and taking it to market, help them get pitch ready, because all sorts of people have great ideas, whether it's a product or a tech idea, but they don't know what to do with it. So we're kind of the early stage, hold their hand, guide them, educate them, connect them with the right people to help determine viability. Is it marketable? Is it realistic? Is this reasonable? Is it going to make money? How to protect it? You name it. So our group is meeting basically just for a networking opportunity. We have monthly meetings with agendas and different topics that we cover, but in addition, due to time constraints, it was requested we have some networking meetups just to kind of share ideas, have a chance also to do your pitch, get some feedback, a little bit of market testing. It's very much an open floor opportunity. So,
Are you government funded?
no, we're not.
One question regarding that is, the ideas are more conceptual, or there are already prototypes as well?
Both, lots of different levels.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, one more?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you give an opportunity to promote ourselves,
Yeah, sure.
I will promote myself. Hi, my name is Renee Cabrera. Been in the area for 12 years. I acquired a social media digital marketing agency in February. So I've been running that, having fun. Run that out of my house, our virtual team across the U.S. Before that, I bought a technology training school called Training Options on Metro. Held that for a few years, sold that off. So, my experience by trade, I'm a software developer, but project management, business ownership, entrepreneur, kind of do a little bit of everything, right? Just kind of like to have fun. So if anybody ever wants to chat, I'm always available. So.
Good, build my website.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, next job. Build my website. That's it.
Okay, then I already thanked the rocket launch. Thank you again. Great opportunity to be here.
We need to get you our new logo.
Yes.
Oh,
A little bit changed.
apparently, yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
To me too.
We'll not leave the room.
Yeah.
And then, without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce Matt. For those of you who are not familiar with who he is about, I'm sure you'll elaborate on that, but his current role is he's the chairman and CIO of Youngbloods, and they are a very exciting young, as represented in the name, venture capital firm. Is that
Private equity.
private equity firm? Yeah. And you know, those are the people who are making it happen for a lot of us, because if you need equity to scale your product, then he would be one of the persons to talk to. And he's here today to talk to us about how to value what you're doing, how to create a pitch which everyone wants to invest, and you know, who are seed investors even. Seed is the first stage, and it's very important to know about this. So thanks for being here.
Yep. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good.
Excellent.
So yeah, as Ben mentioned, my name is Matt Hurley. I'm the chairman and CIO of Youngbloods Inc. here where our offices are over on College Parkway in Fort Myers. As he also mentioned at the beginning, typically when I do this talk, it's to 200 or 300 people. I actually did this talk very similar to this last week in New Orleans. There's about 200 or 300 people here, but I love giving back to our local community. I think guys like Peter and Dieter and what they're doing here at Rocket Lounge is awesome. So I'm super excited to be able to be back home tonight, be able to chat with you guys here about some of the stuff that we're doing, and help you guys through some of your processes if you guys are looking to raise money. So, a little bit of stuff about me. Like I said, I was born and raised here in Southwest Florida. It's been my home. I learned to walk on Fort Myers Beach, and took my first girlfriend on a date to Edison Mall. Graduated high school from Cypress Lake here in town at age 15. Started raising venture capital and investing capital of my own when I was 14 years old. Got involved in a couple projects. Sold off my first 2 projects, one to Microsoft and one to Apple. I can't believe that they each wanted to work with me after working with the other one, but got involved in some cool projects, and have been very blessed to be able to continue to do things ever since then. I also served as advisor in my spare time to a number of our elected officials across the country. Politics has always been an interest of mine, so I have a lot of government connections, and am obviously enjoying the free entertainment we've got going on every single night on our I also typically do a lot of this, do a lot of public speaking, sit on a lot of panels across the country, and I also serve as a radio and TV contributor to a number of different major affiliates. And as I mentioned at the beginning, chairman and CIO of Youngbloods Inc., and I'm also the world's biggest Chicago Cubs fan, so I'm skipping the first few innings of the Cubs game here, but hopefully we're going to get a pull out. So again, I'm going to go through this quick, do a lot of Q&A. I like this, not very often I get to have kind of a one-on-one conversation with folks like this, so definitely enjoy it. I'm going to take advantage of that opportunity. First thing is how to value your company. The first question I asked tonight was, what do you value your company at? So we're going to go through this in kind of 2 different ways. One, if you're pre-revenue, you have to be realistic. One of the first things that turns off any investors when you come in, you've got some ungodly, pre-revenue valuation that's not really based on anything. I think a lot of entrepreneurship is sensationalized by shows like Shark Tank and things like that. Right now it's really sexy to be an entrepreneur. The reality of it is that in the real life world, when you're not on TV and you're not, helping TV ratings boosting, when you're actually, in the boardroom or in the real Shark Tank, that just turns an investor off and just, makes them not real interested in your company right out the gate, makes you look naive. Understand what actually gives you value, right? So if I use one of the companies tonight, right, our first company, obviously Amazon, what gives them value, even though they're mostly pre-revenue, what gives them value is their proprietary algorithm, right? So he's explaining that to me quickly, he's getting to the point of that right out the gate, which is a great job. I want to understand what am I paying for? Like, I'm just going to give you money off of some idea. That goes back to what I was saying. Ideas are worth very, very little. In our office, my brother is here tonight. He can tell you we have typically anywhere between 300 and 400 people submitting requests to us, every single year, looking for investments. And so again, ideas are really cheap. I've heard every single idea that you can ever possibly imagine. I've definitely heard every bad idea that you can possibly imagine. If it's a product-based company, talk about your inventors. You want to get them to the point of, first of all, if they've got an idea, patent it, right? It doesn't cost that much money to patent your idea. If you don't have a patent on your idea, right, what stops me from taking the money in my bank account that I already have and just going and building it myself if I think it's that great of an idea? So have your idea patented, that brings tremendous value up front. And again, ultimately be able to explain very, very quickly in your pitch. Most people, again, he's putting pressure on you, Sven's putting pressure on you guys to do your pitch in 5 minutes. The reality is you've even got less time than that. Most people in the office, I want really quickly elevator pitch. If you can't tell me really quickly what I'm paying for and why I'm getting you money, and most importantly, how I'm getting it back, then, I'm probably not interested. The attention span of an investor is very, very short. If you're post-revenue, know your numbers, right? I know your numbers. Whenever you cannot tell me really quickly what your numbers are, I'm starting to believe that either A, you don't know them, or B, the numbers aren't true. So, know your numbers really, really quickly, be able to spout those out. Those numbers include your total revenue, your total profit and loss. If you're not profitable, that's okay. Again, obviously we work with a lot of companies that are not profitable, but they're gaining revenue, and we're trying to get to that point. But ultimately, you have to know the numbers and know them quickly. What's your cost of customer acquisition? This is really specific to all industries, but ultimately with products. Products obviously have a lot of cost up front developing them, but you've got to know really quickly how much does it cost to get a customer. And if you don't know the answer to that question, you've got to find that out, because no investor can give you any money for a product until you can tell them how much it's going to cost to find a buyer for it. What's the customer lifetime value? Are they going to come back, right? If it's a product, how often are they going to buy the product? A big turn on to investors is if you've got a product that's going to have a repetitive lifetime where they're going to come back and buy it again and again and again. And what's the churn rate, if it's applicable, right? If it's a service or a subscription-based fee, right? How long they're staying on, how long they continue to use it, and how often do you think that how often your customer is actually being burned. Once you know the value of your company, right, there comes the whole idea of selecting an investor. Money is cheap, knowledge is expensive. One of the things that a lot of entrepreneurs say is, must be, how do you do what you do all the time? How do you raise capital all the time? Raising capital is not that hard. Once you have the relationships, and once you have people that are in the money circles, and once you have some money of your own, raising money is not actually that hard. It's taking money from the right people. Talk more about that in a second. But one of the things I always talk about is a great company is made up of three things, like a human body. It's a heart, a brain, and a soul. You've got to figure out as a founder which one of those pieces you play, and then who you're looking for beyond that. Again, in my company, I'm very much the heart. I'm very much the front door. I'm the guy that's pumping the blood through the body, left and right. Right, and once the blood's pumping through, I've got a brain that's telling me where that blood's going, and the soul that's making sure we're doing a great job. So in your company, you might be one of those other pieces, but the whole point is, in order for you to be a great company, you're going to have all three. So one of the things you want to look for in your company is to find an investor, especially a seed investor. If you're talking, about early involvement, especially if you're pre-revenue. You want somebody that's going to complement you. You do not want somebody that's the exact same, has the exact same skill sets that you have. So again, look for what you're missing. Vision and values. Does their destination match yours? Where is the company going? Right. I was very, quickly able to see, like, where is this company going? What does M-Drive look like? 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now. Where's that company going? If you get in the car and you're driving and you guys are trying to go to 2 different destinations, you are going to fight the whole time. And a company that's divided amongst itself just like a nation cannot stand. It'll fall and collapse really quickly. So you've got to figure out before you ever go to get in bed with this person, in a financial relationship, do they and you understand exactly where the company is going, and are those the same directions? What do they value? What are their personal values? A lot of investors, personally value money, so they're strictly interested in the money aspect, the actual, specific exit strategy, which is okay sometimes, but it's better if you can find an investor who has similar values, similar subsets. They're interested in what entrepreneurs always talk about solving problems. It's good if you can find an investor who's interested in solving the same problem that you're interested in solving. And can you live with this person forever? The reality of the situation is I've had a lot of mentors that have told me in the past that a business partnership, right, is a lot like marriage without any sex. And I think that's probably the truth, right? You're going to go through the same things. You're going to argue about money. You're going to argue about, what the company's going to look like when it grows up. You're going to argue about a lot of different things. So it's very much, a similar situation. So you've got to be asking yourself, are you okay with living with this person forever? And then know the golden rule. My golden rule is a little bit different than everyone else's. I've got the goal, I make the rules. Which means that ultimately, once you go to bed with an investor, you have to understand that person is going to be a tremendous involvement in your company. You've got to be willing to kind of play their game. So again, that goes back to knowing their destination. Where do they match with you? You definitely want this to be somebody that you're capable of working with. So I would always say, don't just run to somebody who's maybe give you a higher valuation. You want, there's a lot of things other than the valuation, other than the dollar figure to look at when you look at an investor. And finally, a business model that everyone wants a piece of. Control the narrative and tell a story. The biggest things about what makes a company sexy. Again, right now, especially, this is not even the early 2000s that you were talking about. It's a completely different business climate. Entrepreneurship is one of the sexiest things right now. Everyone is trying to be an entrepreneur. which makes it harder for you to stand out individually with your company, with your brand. So you've got to be able to control the narrative and tell a story. Why are you different? Again, love the way you opened up, right? You opened it up with, emotion. You got to speak to me, move me. It takes a lot to move me. It takes a lot to, make me feel something. And it does, right? Again, he's telling me, right? His wife. He's painting a picture of like, look, this guy, ran my wife over. Right? He's telling me a story. He's speaking to me, and that's one of the things that you definitely have to do. A quote to kind of live by, and just in marketing in general, is that it's not what they think, it's how they feel. People buy things based off of how they feel, and that speaks a lot to your company. They have to have some sort of emotional connection with you, and that comes into, again, by controlling their narrative and telling the story. And you should be able to do that. Also, the first person you've got to sell is obviously the investor. Be simple and concise. Most investors really don't care about all the nitty gritty. They're getting into a lot of plans. They don't want a 800-page prospectus. They want simple, concise, help me understand it very quickly. Be direct. What exactly are you looking for? What do you want from the investor besides the money? Which again is always something important. If you can give the investor a reason why you're seeking advice from them specifically, that's another reason why they might want to work with you. Investors are not banks. They're not. If you're looking for just straight money, you can go to the bank and try to get a loan. They're not interested in just getting you money. Be open about money. Be open about the numbers. Don't try to hide things from investors. Again, Shark Tank's sensationalizing things. One of the things that I totally do is, if they smell blood in the water, they're just going to rip your head off. So if they think that you're misleading them about money, misleading them about something, being less than open about something, they're just going to absolutely rip your head off. And be confident in your business model. Obviously, again, be very confident. Again, I always use analogies, going back to the whole driving idea of getting in the car. Be very confident in where you're going, right? Be very confident where you're going. The investor is going to help you figure out and navigate the best way to get there, but be very confident where you're going. What are you trying to accomplish? What is the problem that you're trying to solve by being an entrepreneur? And be confident in yourself. That's one of the biggest things is I always tell people, I don't invest in companies, I invest in people. You can take a person that is just got a winning mindset that maybe doesn't have the greatest business model, and they're going to figure out a way to make it work. And reversely, you can take someone that's got the greatest business idea in the entire world. If they're not a competent person, they're not a go-getter, they're going to destroy the good idea and ruin it. You'll lose your money. So, if you guys liked what I talked about, shoot me a text, and we can connect and keep the conversation going. You can find me online. Also, all my handles of everything are everhurleyofficial.com. Super responsive on there. I'd love to talk to you guys about one-on-one about your own business models. I get several hits a day on there and chat with a lot of different people, but love to talk to you guys each about some of the things that you guys are facing in business and talk about how me or my firm might be able to help you. So that being said, happy to take questions and kind of address everybody one-on-one. If you guys have questions about your own business models or challenges you guys face, happy to talk about those things.
Thank you so much, first of all.
So, what kind of business model excites you?
Yeah, I'm a big, again, I like to be moved, so I'm definitely interested in people who can tell me, what they're changing in the market, what, the hot buzzword right now is disrupt. I'm going to disrupt this, I'm really innovative in that. Explain to me, how you're actually going to disrupt it. How are you going to go out and emotionally move people? I'm a big believer in the fact that there are very few logical buyers left in this world. I think most people are emotional buyers. I don't think there's a whole lot of people that go out and care about specs anymore. I don't think most people care about how many horsepower their car has or how many, what ratio, aspect ratio, and how many pixels their TV has. I think most people are looking for a deal, looking for emotion, and they're going to buy something, based off of, based off the brand, based off the story. So somebody who can quickly, show me that they've identified, they have a brand, they have a story, they're going to just actually legitimately disrupt something. That's usually a big turn on to me because I'm a big believer that sales and marketing are the driving force behind the company.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that might come from just my own individual background, but I think most people, most consumers. Again, I think the consumers are investors the same way. Investors want to invest in things that emotionally move them. Consumers want to buy things and buy services and work with people who emotionally move them. So for the sweet spot for us, we're very involved in technology. Again, emerging markets.
There's specific industry you are interested in?
Not so much. I'm very politically involved, so anything that's got a government or political spin to it usually catches my attention pretty quick. One, because I know that industry very, very well. But no, I'm not opposed to it. One of the things I've learned as an investor, as opposed to an entrepreneur being on the actual entrepreneurship side, is that you have to invest in things that the market likes, not the things that you like. So what I like may not be the same as what the market likes, but I usually judge what the market's telling me, and we try to go after companies that in that spectrum.
What do you think is the hottest market right now?
Oh, the hottest market right now, I would say anything that's got to do with, anything that's got to do, and I'm gonna kind of go on a rant here, but anything that's got to do with disruption in the sense of taking power out of the hands of people who have it. So I think that anything that targets, making things for the common man local is all real hot right now. Right, so whether you've got, Rebel Coffee, which by the way I had for the first time today, is very good.
Good.
Appreciate that, and,
I will tell Hurley.
yeah, so it's great. Right, so there's a lot of people that are into that, right? They're really anti-big chains. I'm a huge foodie. So when I travel, right, I always tell people I want to eat at the best local place that's not a chain. I hate chains. I don't want to go to a chain. You might have great food. I don't care. If I've seen you someplace else, I'm never going to eat there. So that's a big thing. I think anything that's kind of got this local feel. And, big thing, again, that can go into the technology range and you can start talking about, things like crowdfunding. I think crowdfunding is getting very crowded because there's a lot of people that are looking that can't get loans from banks, right? That can't get into, quote unquote, can't get into the big, VC, houses, can't find angel investors, but they're looking to have their friends, raise capital for them. So, yeah, I think anything that is about, taking power out of the hands of big people and putting it back in the hands of locals, I think is a really sexy market to be in right now.
So what is your perspective? We just had a discussion earlier about this new equity crowdfunding, which we used to have in Europe for 3 years now, but
Sure.
pretty new here now. From the VC perspective.
So that goes back to my concept. Again, I give a much longer
Instead
version.
angel going to $1 million crowdfunding and then
Sure. Yeah, I go back to again, this is the presentation I just gave is a subset of a much longer presentation I typically give, but my concept of friends, family, and fools is something I use in everything that I talk about. If you have raised money, and I guess I'll talk about it, if you've raised money from friends, family, and fools, that makes you abundantly more attractive to another investor. Because that tells me that somebody else, a friend, a family, or a fool, I guess it doesn't make them so much more attractive. If you haven't raised money from those three people, it makes you very unattractive. Because my thing is, if you're not willing able to sell this company to your friends, family, and any idiot you can find outside the street, why am I then going to give you money? So again, you're automatically more attractive. So from a crowdfunding standpoint, yeah, I mean, even if you're trying to raise $1 million, right, and you've raised $25,000, through a crowdfunding effort, right, it's a very small percentage. But to me as an investor, that tells me there's some sort of proof of concept out here. So yeah, I don't know whether or not that's equity. I'm a deal maker, so I love to make deals in different ways. It depends on how you do things. I don't like to get involved in things that have this huge crowdfunding equity thing because it becomes a huge paperwork trail. And technically these people are shareholders, so now all of a sudden I've got to deal with, every Tom, Dick, and Harry every time I'm trying to do some larger thing with the company. So yeah, I'm not personally the biggest fan of it, but I do like seeing entrepreneurs who are at least going out. To me, it's you're trying. You're trying. You're not just sitting here banking on this one meeting, and so many of these people think they get a meeting with a VC, that means I got all my money now, or I get a meeting with an equity firm or an angel investor or whatever. To me, like, you need to be banking on other things. Show me why. Even with my own projects, that we're involved in. If we're co-investing, right? I mean, I'm setting up 5, 6, 7, 8 different avenues for co-investors for me to come in that I think all have different angles. If I'm going into something that's technology related, I might be working with a telecommunications company to co-invest. I might be working with people who have background in finance, background, whatever it is, several different angles for the project because I want to make sure that no matter what, my project moves forward. So yeah, I would never put all your eggs in one basket, but yeah, crowdfunding, I think it has a legitimacy. It's, again, I'm a big, believer in, you lay all the options on the table. I'd rather, if you need the money to actually get started, then having $25,000 is a heck of a lot closer to your $1 million, need than $0 is.
especially in areas where you don't have this developed angel groups.
Sure, yeah.
Like we have here, we have 2 or 3 angel groups, we are pretty slow.
Yeah, I don't,
Crowdfunding could be an alternate to this.
I think that this whole hype of like angel investors too is really, over exaggerated. We have these angel funds here or whatever, and they've got all these rich CEOs and stuff that are on the board. The question you have to ask yourself is how active is the money, right?
Yeah.
How active is the money? Because there's so many guys on Naples that'll say, oh yeah, I'm here to pitch, I'm an investor, I'm loaded, I got $900 million in my bank account, right? But they're not willing to write a check.
No.
So to me, like, it's just, again, you've got to find active people that are actively interested in investing. They've got money and they want to make more of it, and that they're looking to buy into a concept. That's when you're looking to raise money. There's people that are, you're going to put together a little pitch night like for yourself, right? You've got 10 or 15 get to people, you get to come kind of hear your pitch, and you want to kind of crowdfund it that way. You know, you've got to understand that there's a couple of different types of people in here. There's qualified people that are legitimately looking to come in, and then there's people that are just getting drugged in the door. A lot of people are just what we call tire kickers. They're just going to come in, they just want to hear your pitch. That they're never actually going to plan on investing. So, yeah, I would say that, like I said, you do anything you can to raise money up front if that's the shit that you need, and that's what you actually have to accomplish.
What?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Hey Matt, when you're evaluating a company that was looking at scaling, how do you assess the viability of that company scaling? Say something that may be a lifestyle type business.
Yeah, I mean, the way, here's another thing I meant to mention is I, as an investor, right, this is two assets that we have, and again, we talked a little bit about the play on name, our firm is called Youngbloods Inc., and I founded that, used that name and kind of built our brand on that, and this is a conversation I was having with Sven was, a lot of, if you look at the world's greatest investments, they didn't have, a lot of these VCs, they'll tell you this is our 3 to 5 year strategy, and then we're going to exit and all this. A lot of the world's greatest business models were built over 30 to 50 years, not 3 to 5. So again, that's kind of what our firm had. Our firm's got a major asset that no other firm has, and that's time. A lot of these guys, when you think of VCs, you think of old, 65-year-old white-haired guys, right? They're sitting in these big boardrooms, and they're making decisions, and they're ex-banks, VPs, and things like that. Again, everybody that's in my office is, self-made in some way. And a lot of our partners are all self-made, but they're all pretty young, so they have time as an asset. So going back to what your question was, which is how do you value the company? We're going to value the company strictly off of what it is right this second. I am never going to give money to anyone ever for what their company is going to be worth 5 years from now. I'm going to give you money based on what your company is worth to me right now, this very, very second. I'm going to give you an abundance of my time based off of what I think you could be. So for instance, I'll invest in companies sometimes that I don't think are going to be worth too much more, maybe 20-30% what they're worth right now. I'm not going to get 10x on them. But I know if it's something that I can invest a little bit of money in, literally throw on the back burner and have somebody in my office check in with, now and again, and they really don't need too much of my help. They just need maybe a little bit of guidance, or they just need some of our other assets, some other people in our office to kind of help them out. Then that's fine. I'll do that. If it's something that's going to require a ton of legwork, I'm probably going to give you a lower valuation up front. But I'm going to give you the money, and I'm also going to give you a ton of my time to be able to actually go and jump these hurdles. I mean, a lot of these companies now, you look at things like Uber. Everyone's big shtick they look at is Mark Cuban had the opportunity to invest in Uber 3 times and turn it down every single time because if you look at a guy like Cuban, he's abundantly wealthy. The guy can literally invest in 100 bad deals every single day. He's never going to outrun the interest on his money that he's already got. But again, so what he values very highly is this time, and he knew that Uber was going to be an uphill legal battle. They were going to forever be fighting legal battles, and he just wasn't interested in the time aspect of that. So I look at 2 different things: what's my time worth, and what's my money worth. And again, what's the market saying? Quickly understanding the market. Both of these guys opened their pitch with what the market size was, right? So I 100% agree with our statements over here. With M-Drive regarding the fact that. Again, I learned how many commercial vehicles are. I don't care how many consumer vehicles there are because, again, I personally do believe that consumer vehicles are going to go away very quickly. I think that, over the next 5 to 10 years, consumer vehicles are going to look very different. But one of the things that our office talked about many times is that in the last 50 or 60 years, there's been really no change in the commercial vehicle industry. So I think that's probably something more timeless. But again, as far as actually valuing it, I'm a pretty, if you're a Shark Tank fan, I'm very much a Kevin O'Leary type guy. So I'm pretty straightforward. I'm going to tell you exactly what you're worth 5 minutes into having a conversation with you. You might like it, you might not. Some people are never going to take investments from our firm strictly because of that. Some people, are. But that's what I would say. Again, I'm very much here right now. What's your company worth? I don't care if you're an older company that's been in business. 5 or 10 years, our company's exiting right now from a very large online retailer, that they want to go back to, and one of the partners wanted to tout their revenues from 2010, even though it was the bottom of the market. The world was completely different in 2010. Amazon wasn't a big player, eBay was still kind of the big internet player. Google AdWords cost 1/10 of what they cost right now. It's completely different. You're talking about a completely different company. If I'm valuing your company, I'm valuing them right now. What happened today?
How long, in your advice, how long should someone bootstrap if they can, or how much effort should they try to bootstrap it as long as they can, or when is the right time to invest?
Totally depends on your company. If you're somebody that has a skill set where you can bootstrap it for a long time, obviously, that's VC 101, bootstrap it as long as you possibly can if you're going to give up less equity. But another thing that you talk about, if you're going into a crowded market, something that's very, very busy, something that's very, very hectic, go give up 40% of your company and get a guy that can get you to market faster. Because again, otherwise you're going to just die waiting. So again, I would say that depends on kind of your own skill set. Go back to the body, concept, heart, brain, and soul. If you're a brain or a soul, I would say go to a VC faster, get money, and get a heart in there that can take you to market really fast and pump your company out there. If you're a heart and you can kind of make it work and you're a grinder, you're somebody that can go out and beat the streets, yeah, I would say wait as long as possible. But it totally depends on the concept. How important is capital to what you're doing is what I would say. So figure that out. If the money is a big factor in the growth, go early. Again, something like this, right? They need the capital to develop the product out and really make the product great. Yeah, they're going to give up more percent. They're going to go for capital early. But if you're somebody else that can go out and you're more of a service or a product-based industry, if you can make the product out of your house and you're a craftsman, you can bootstrap it up front, and at least show proof of concept before you get capital. Yeah, you're going to give up a lot less to your company, which is better for you.
So Silicon Valley is all about unicorns.
Sure. Yep.
What do you think about that?
Complete bullshit. That's exactly why my company got founded. Yeah, I think I told David this yesterday when him and I were having a conversation. I think Silicon Valley is a huge bubble. I think it's going to burst. I think a lot of these guys are going to lose a ton of their money. The only ways you're successful in Silicon Valley are if you're Mark Cuban, you're Peter Thiel, or again you're available.
Peter Thiel is out now.
Sure. I mean, again, your available capital is so high that if you literally just sat it in the bank, the interest that the bank is paying you every single day is enough to cover up all of your bad deals that you're doing all day long. And sure, again, just like if I go and play roulette, if I play every single piece on the board, right, somewhere it's going to hit and I'm going to make a ton of money. And it's going to, if I bet right, I'm going to be able to overcome what falls. I think that whole concept is completely flawed. I think it's going to be very, very short-lived. You're already seeing it slow. I mean, this year over last year is way slower, the amount of money that's getting put in from Silicon Valley. It's completely unrealistic.
New numbers came out today. Read it that the unicorn investment is going down. And
Yeah.
seed is going up.
Yeah, 100%. I just don't believe it, and
I mean, when you look at Nutanix, the last IPO, I mean, how many companies are, whatever, 200-300 million invested in storage?
Mhm.
Not all could be market leaders.
Yeah.
For sure.
You can sort of
And this is, even EMC and Dell is waking up now. They get more innovative, and now you see that there could be 10 of them. So Simplicity or whatever their names are.
Yeah, you can sort of do some really basic math, on anything. One of the companies I think is really flawed and very overvalued is Uber. I mean, Uber again. One of the things they have is they have time, right? They have tons of capital now, so they have plenty of time to figure out how they're going to problem. But I mean, the company's valued at more than the taxi market itself, so they've got to do something else. I mean, they're not going to ever.
Same as WeWork, more than Marriott.
Sure. Yeah, we were having that conversation yesterday as well. I mean, you get these companies that are valued more than the industries they're serving. So that's fine. I think if Uber sets up for a merger at some point with another huge player, I mean, I think it would have to be a massive merger with another enormous company. Maybe it's Tesla. I think that one of the things that I would see, and again, I'm not a big fan of these big.
Yeah, but it's not easy. A friend of mine sold with my taxi to Mercedes-Benz in Germany.
Sure.
And it's more or less dead in Germany, my taxi. So entrepreneurship is out. Mercedes has done nothing,
Yeah.
But they make the money. The founders make the money with the exit.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, again, I think a lot of the tech companies, one of the things that I've said several times at several conferences now, that's sometimes an unpopular comment, but I'm happy to stand by it. I've been saying it for a year now. I'm happy to keep saying it. I mean, I think Google 5 years from now is going to look a lot like Yahoo looks right now. I think it's going to be completely a dead company. I think it's very, very flawed. I think they've lost. I wouldn't put one penny.
And we discussed yesterday. I think what we are focusing here in Florida is to create $50-100 million companies.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them high profitable, high successful, and there's a huge market. I mean,
Do you think that's the future?
Let's get rid of the part-time hourly and bring in more corporate jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we need down here.
Where do you see the future? Do you see the future in those kind of lower cap?
Yeah, I don't
profitable
think
companies?
Multi-billion-dollar companies. I really do think. I think the only one of the large media companies that really has massive sustainability is Facebook. I do think Facebook, just because they own the consumer now, so they have so much data on the consumer, they're able to pivot very quickly. I think one of the things you're going to see in the next even 2 to 3 years, I think you're going to see, you just look at television. I come from the marketing industry, so I built up what became the largest digital marketing company in the Southeastern United States, and sold that. You look at that again. What's just the data we're seeing change? I mean, every single form of advertising is hemorrhaging money. Right? Traditional advertising outside of digital is hemorrhaging money, except for live sports and live news. Right? Live news, and even that is going to shift now with things like Facebook Live. In live sports, obviously we've got Super Bowl, World Series, things like that. But I think you're going to see those contracts start to go to companies like Facebook. I mean, they've been huge on mobile. I think they're going to start to get the contracts for major sporting events, which is going to put these massive, television companies, Xfinity, Time Warner, obviously you're seeing them bought by AT&T. These companies are going to go bankrupt. They can only continue to cover up their losses in other sectors for so long. Again, that goes back to my concept on Google. Google, the only thing that's profitable at Google is Google AdWords, and Google AdWords is getting swallowed by Facebook's social advertising every single day. 80% of the new digital ad money is going to Facebook versus everyone else, Bing, Yahoo, Google. So again, at some point, they're big profitable. They're not the biggest shark anymore, they're the biggest whale in their industry that they're making all their money off of, right? And no one's wearing Google glasses, right? No one's driving a Google self-driving car, all these other things, and all those things are hemorrhaging money left and right. And I think you see mass layoffs, and then again, it doesn't take the market very long to catch on to that, and their stock price goes to the floor, and they're out of capital. Again, they've got a little bit of time to start to figure that out. Less so Apple. I think Apple's done a great job with their, at their closed circuit system. I think they continue to kind of putz along here for a while. But yeah, to your point again, to what you're talking about, I think that the tech industry is quickly going to end this whole multi-billion-dollar, craziness. And I think you're going to start to see, 50, 100, even maybe up into the,
We like it. They should do it in Silicon Valley, so they are not going
I
overseas.
think that, again, Silicon Valley is just...
Should all go there.
Yeah, right, Silicon Valley, it goes back to what I was talking about, it's a narrative, right? It's a story. All these great companies started in someone's garage in Silicon Valley, that's the story. So, you look at Mark Zuckerberg, he dropped out of college, he went to...
Imagine you're running Andreessen Horowitz VC and get a 1.5 billion, and they could take 2.5 billion.
Sure.
I mean, you have to spend in this kind of deals. You
Yeah.
can't sit about and looking at seed and talking to 500 startups and investing $5 million. That's a problem. They're getting too big now.
Yeah, I do. I agree they're getting too big.
And there are many of them now. Greylock just named $1 billion. Safi another $1 billion.
So what do you
And
do
they have-
if you had 1.5 billion?
If I had 1.5 billion, again, I can tell you that we initially do. Again, you look at guys like Mark Cuban who are very smart in that process, right? Cuban runs his own fund. He's got his own certain amount of money to invest, and then he gives a portion of his money to a guy like Ashton Kutcher and has him run a fund for him. So you got to start spreading them out. I agree. The deals that are really going to be successful are deals where you're investing $50,000 to maybe up to the $750,000. That's really capping it out. You start getting these $1 million, $2 million seed capital deals. Again, you're betting on absolutely pure nonsense, and I think that. So again, if you have the money, again, you got to split it up with other funds. You got to find good people. Basically, I mean, one of our largest competitors that we look at is over on the East Coast, and the same thing. They put a $750 million round. Again, I don't care because what's going to end up happening is they put their first couple statements out to their investors. They're going to have mass exodus from their actual fund. People will be like, "Give me my money back." They're paying 2%. Take a 2% management fee. Our model is completely different than that. We have very, very long life cycles of people working with us. People that are working with us are in it for the long haul. People are not sticking to that very long once they realize they don't have the deal flow to do it. They're either going to have shitty deal flow and they're going to start giving money to every guy who walks in the room, which is going to lead to massive losses. Or they're just not going to be able to keep up the deal flow. They're not going to be able to keep up the earnings people are looking for.
Does your company also play matchmaker? So for example, if I want to sell my company to a larger player?
Sure.
You get
Yeah. So we definitely do do brokerages and stuff like that. Again, our typically the way we do that, we're not a traditional broker. We're just gonna tell you real quick. Typically, what we look to is get involved with you somehow. Clean the company up, make it really sexy, and try to help. By waiting another 6 months to a year, we can usually tweak some things to make the company look even better, and it's worth that extra year to help you exit at a higher value. But yeah, absolutely, definitely involved in that.
I'm sorry.
Sure, no.
For a service-based company, what's the multiple you're seeing now in the market?
It totally depends on what you're typically involved with. Again, it comes down to the narrative. People who have the relationships. That's kind of the right. Why do a lot of people go on Shark Tank? Tons of people go on Shark Tank that don't. They have plenty of money. Their company's very successful, right? They're looking for Mark Cuban to pick up the phone and help them get into something larger because the company's going to go for more if you got a guy like him attached to it. Reverse it. We do a lot of deals with companies where, especially I do a lot of deals in commercial real estate, where I work with a very, very, I partner with an extremely large commercial real estate company. They're multi-billionaires. I mean, private jets, they're second and third level executives have private jets, very, very successful people. And these guys are crazy, crazy wealthy. The big thing with them is they're kind of known as the shark in the industry. So a lot of times they'll work with us on something where I can go in and they go, it's a dumbass kid, whatever, he's nobody, and we'll do the deal for them. Whereas again, if they walked in, the second they walked in the door, the price tag went up, 8x from what it was at. So again, it's something like that. It totally depends. I mean, it totally depends on if you. I mean, again, I'm a big believer that you don't make your money on the sell, you make your money on the buy. So it depends on what you bought the company for. If you did well with that, if you've got something proprietary to it. Service-based companies are easy to sell because we're looking at right now. They're really shitty to buy. I would never buy a service-based company. Having been in one when I ran my digital marketing company. Smartest thing I ever did was sell that because what people don't realize if you're in a service-based company, if you're anybody that's thinking about buying a service-based company, don't do it because most of the reason that it's successful is leaving with the person that you bought the company from. That person left and they were part of what made it successful. And there was some sort of secret sauce that they held the piece to. But again, I mean, obviously, you mentioned you're in social media management. Obviously, played in that space for a while. A lot of it's similar customers. Your average customer is probably small business, right? Like consulting with them, very service based. It's easy. We're talking about some very easy company to sell. I'd have to look at your numbers to kind of see what I think you can nab for it. But it's easy to sell because there's two types of people you can sell it to. Right, I can go to somebody like my company at the time, right, who's just looking to buy your book. I can just buy your book, swallow your customers up, right? I don't need you. I've already got my own people. I've already got my own process that I can just add you in my book and add the capital really quickly. Or I can sell it to some rich guy's wife who wants to run a company from home. So there's two.
There are many of those.
No, that's the truth. Somebody that's looking to just run a company in their pajamas from home. That's a really, again, very sexy buzzword type thing right now. So there's always the ability to do that.
All right, awesome.
Excellent. Thank you.
So as usual, now is about the time to break out and head over to the United Ale House. You're welcome to hang around here for a couple more minutes. Are you going to be here for a little longer? Are you going to join us?
Sure, I don't think I'm going to make it over there. I think I'm going to bounce home and catch the Coke game, but yeah, I'm happy to chat
right.
around one.
It's okay, it's on over there, because I'm watching it.
Well, I'm great friends with my buddy